So as organizers, we take part in our own task. What we actually did is that we combined two different methods in this case. The first one is the ARP method, the agreement-based retraining. It uses part of its own predictions as training samples in order to predict new content. So in this approach we used three types of features: tweet-based, user-based, and forensics. As we can see in the chart, we built two different classifiers using features independent one of each other, so the classifiers are totally independent. We compare their predictions, so we divided the test set into agreed and the disagreed set of samples. In the next step, what we did is that we used the agreed predictions as training samples in order to retrain our initial model. The initial model was chosen depending on depending on the best performing classifier of the two above. So this retrained model was used in order to decide about the disagreed samples, the samples that the classifiers couldn't classify in the first step. So the second part of the method.
So the second part was based on observation from the previous MediaEval challenge. This is the IT innovation approach, which uses a semantic feature grammar. It had a very high precision and a pretty low recall. So what we used it as a kind of authoritative source. If you couldn't classify, we fell back to the other approaches, which were based more on bag of words type supervised learning. So here we parse the speech tag, the text of the tweets, fed it into a semantic grammar, which was constructed based on domain observation of the linguistic patterns that people use to express whether or not a tweet is a fake or whether it's real. If they actually make a claim about it, we created some linguistic patterns to extract that. We also created linguistic patterns for source attribution, so like via BBC News or this is from somebody. And then we had a list of trusted and untrusted sources, which we can then correlate with those attributed sources. So what this does is it essentially picks out those one or two tweets from 100 or 200 potential tweets, which actually make reference to a known source. And this is exactly what the journalist would do, and it was motivated by the human approach to verification. Then that essentially feeds back. So once if a corpus of tweets about an image has one or two of these high quality claims, they are then retrospectively asserted to the whole set. So the image then gets labelled as fake or real.
Finally, we have the rounds that we submitted. In the first two runs, we just used the ARP method, the agreement-based retraining. And for example, as we can see in these yellow boxes, the tweet-based and the forensic features were used in order to train the first classifier, and the user-based in order to train the second classifier. The 3 and 4 runs are actually a combination of the two methods. And as we can see, it's the run 3 is the one that performed best. In this case, we used the add method as a guideline, and we considered its output as correct if it was available, and otherwise we used the output of the ARP method. And finally, run 5 was just a classification method by concatenating all the features that we had. So that's for our part. I hope to see you in the poster session. Thank you.
Thank you again.